and everything. And it works. You see these green dots?
Yeah.
That's how I know it works.
Perfect.
Yay. We are live on YouTube as well, and we're going live on the radio. So, yeah, we have guests on the show for the first time ever. So, thank you in advance.
This is exciting.
Yeah, believe it or not, it really is. I'll enable your mic. That was good timing. All right. It is just past the hour here, 2:03 p.m. here on the west coast of the United States. And guess what, folks? It's time for Grand Prix Talk. So welcome to the show that provides a I made it at home mindset to the Gordon Ramsay steak world of motorsport. They're watching Hell's Kitchen outside. So that and I had pizza. It's a good day. My name is Sergio Morales. Welcome to Grand Prix Talk, everybody. For the first time ever, we have a guest. That's right. We actually do. If you'd believe it, we have Kaylee Gallagher coming over from 22 West Sports. Welcome to the show for the first time ever.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here, honestly. I'm really excited for today.
Ain't we all? We got a big episode coming up today with a big weekend of racing ahead of us. Specifically, of course, we're talking all about the Las Vegas Grand Prix, so stay tuned for that. Yeah, we've got a packed episode, so I don't think we should waste any time. We should just get right into it.
I think so.
All right. We just opened up the soundtrack today with a little bit of Twice there. So shout out to our homies over at K-Pop Corner. Their show just wrapped up. They go up every Tuesday and Thursday. But today they came through with Push and Pull by Twice, a song that I think exemplifies the Vegas vibe very well. And speaking of Vegas, that's where we're headed, aren't we?
Yes, we are.
What are we thinking about this Grand Prix? We gotta dive right in. First off, what are we thinking about this weekend's Grand Prix?
I'm excited. I personally love the Vegas track. I know I have heard a lot of speculation from people. It looks like a pig from above.
It does.
People don't like the layout of it. But, I mean, if anything from last year's Grand Prix shows, it could be a good race.
I'm willing to think the same thing. Okay, because regarding the layout, I was one of those people who thought, like, this is kind of a whack layout. But then you got to remember this. The layout is somewhat similar to Monza in that there's, like, a long straightaway. There's a lot of fast corners. So really, we're going to be like, this is very much a Monza-esque type of race that we got ahead of us. And if I'm not wrong, the weather looks like it's going to be cold this weekend in Vegas. And remember last year, it was also cold.
Yeah, it was, what was it last year? I want to say around 58.
Give or take around 50.
Yeah.
Oh, as a matter of fact, let's see. So for Las Vegas, we have, by the time the race goes live, it'll be around 60-ish degrees.
Yeah.
So it's actually not going to be so warm at all. Sunday, there will be rain, but they're not racing Sunday. In an effort to curtail any possible viewership downwards, they're going to keep it at 10 o'clock here in the West Coast so that the European crowd can wake up early to watch.
Yeah.
I still find it weird why they do that, but, the European crowd matters. So we got to keep them in. Okay, so before we dive into the Las Vegas Grand Prix, there are some things that I want to talk about both in and out of F1. So let's dive right into that. I don't know if you saw, but over in NASCAR, the Roush Fenway, what am I saying? The RFK Racing Team, they announced their new driver for 2025. It was kind of foreshadowed yesterday, with a little post of 2 cars plus a third that's just kind of peeking out, kind of like I do on Life every day. Well, it turns out it's Ryan Preece. I don't know if you've heard of this guy.
Oh, I have.
Yeah, remember the guy that flipped over at Daytona and yet somehow even with like beat up eyes, he's just like, dang, I will be back.
That's him. Yeah, that is him. Yeah,
that's him. That. So it turns out, according to motorsport.com, Ryan Preece is coming to NASCAR. Well, actually, he's already been in NASCAR. He's headed to RFK in 2025. And I think this is good. I'm just hoping that it actually pays off for him. Like, RFK has shown a lot of strength lately. I think my one big one is he's coming over from a team that is shut down, Stewart-Haas. So for me, I feel like I can only really hope that he does well out there. I feel like he will because, honestly, RFK, like I said, they're showing some strong momentum. They're doing good. I mean, both Brad Keselowski and Chris Buescher have won races recently, so I don't doubt that Ryan Preece has got the juice. I hope he actually can pull through, though.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's the same thing. I just hope he can do well, especially with RFK. They are on the come up. There's what's known as a sleeper team.
Yeah, absolutely.
A big sleeper team that not a lot of people are looking out for. If you want to compare it to something in F1, it's like the McLaren. Everybody didn't think this McLaren car was going to be dominant this season. And it started off as a sleeper. It was just there. The momentum was there. And only adding this driver is going to push them more over the top, if anything.
I would also say that Haas is also a team coming up as well.
Mhm.
That's a little bit more my personal take, especially with Toyota coming in. But that's a topic for a little bit later on this afternoon. But yeah, so motorsport.com for anyone who is on the YouTube stream. Quote motorsport.com, RFK Racing hasn't run 3 full-time cars in the NASCAR Cup Series since 2016. So that's almost a decade ago. And I honestly don't remember who was in the driver lineup back then.
I don't either.
That's not important. The point is, for 2025, there will be a 3-car lineup. The number 6 is Brad Keselowski staying. The number 17 of Chris Buescher, whose hometown, by the way, did I mention, has a population of 30,000.
Wow.
I know, right? Who remembers that from the NASCAR commentary? And those two plus Ryan Preece should be some good form for RFK coming up soon in 2025. The announcement includes the addition of Kroger as a primary sponsor, which has already worked with Preece during his time at JTG. That's about as what you'd expect, right? We already know the Kroger brand, so about what you'd expect. And the team will lease a charter from Wick Rear Racing for 2025. So overall, pretty good news over at RFK for sure. It's almost like they just can't get enough of it.
Yeah, honestly, I mean, the Kroger sponsorship's huge too. That's more money for them to build a bigger and faster car.
Yeah. But I think my one big one is going to be the fact that he's going to have a different paint scheme every week.
Oh, yeah.
Get ready for that, folks. If Ricky Stenhouse Jr. had, what was it? He had freaking Palmolive one week. Then he had, what was it? I think he had like chips or a drink.
I think it was like a chips or drink brand.
Yeah. And I know for a fact that at one point he had the half car, which was like blue in the front and then white in the back.
Yeah, I do remember that.
I expect millions of paint schemes coming up in 2025.
That's going to be fun, though.
That's true. Okay, so with our NASCAR chatter out of the way, now we can start talking about open wheel racing. Let's begin with F1 Academy. You've definitely kept up with them, right?
Yes.
I love F1 Academy. I think a lot of people do, and it shows because for 2025, their calendar has just been announced. And let's have a look, shall we? They'll kick it off in China, which is where that's a first for them. The Chinese Grand Prix, that's going to be a first for them. So they'll open up there on March 21st through the 23rd, along with F1 and the Chinese Grand Prix. They'll be heading to Saudi Arabia in April, which that's a little bizarre. I don't remember that the 2025 Saudi Arabian Grand Prix was going to be in April.
I know they do. F1 has done a lot of changes with their schedule as of 2025. They've moved Monaco to June, Canada to May. They've done a lot of shifting within their Grand Prix.
The Monaco Grand Prix is staying in the month of May. It's Barcelona that's going to be moving to June 1st specifically.
Is it? Because I think Monaco after next year moves.
Is it? Okay, that is something that we will be learning, both you and I together. Matter of fact, look it up because even now,
look it up right now.
This is news to me. You see what I mean, folks? We're just two people here at the 22 West studio. We're just having a good time talking and learning things as we go. That's a good thing about having a I made it myself mentality. Anyway, okay, so
yes, Monaco Grand Prix. I'm reading this off the New York Times.
Okay.
On Thursday, F1 announced they had signed a contract extension with Monaco to ensure that the race remained on the calendar until at least 2031.
Okay.
As part of the deal, Monaco will give up its traditional end of May slot on the calendar from 2026 and will instead be held the first full weekend of June each year.
Oh no! That means no more Indy 500 / Monaco Grand Prix on the same day.
Oh, it's heartbreaking.
It sucks.
I personally am a big fan of the Monaco Grand Prix, the history around it, everything like that. To move it from its historic end of May slot to then pushing it to the first full weekend of June.
It's sad.
I don't know.
I don't like it. I don't like it.
I don't like it either. It's weird.
Okay, I'm so used, especially throughout the 2010s and into the early 2020s. Wake up early for the Monaco Grand Prix, watch the Indy 500, which to me is like the centerpiece of the day. And then finish it off with dinner during the Coca-Cola 600.
Yeah.
Like now we only have the Indy 500 and the Coke 600. Yeah. That's not to discredit either event. They're obviously some of the biggest races of the year. But that's a break of tradition.
I know. It's heartbreaking to hear. I mean, I had the same schedule too. It was like Monaco, shower, eat, Indy 500, get some more food, and then Coca-Cola 600.
And then the Coke 600. The one day of year where we're actually okay with sitting and lounging in our couch all day.
Yeah.
Except for those last few laps at Indy. Oh my goodness.
Oh, though.
You never.
My heart was pounding.
Anyone who sits down during those final laps at the Indy 500, like that's if any moment in racing can get a casual into a full-on race fan, it's that.
Yeah.
Just saying.
I would even say the Monaco Grand Prix this year, along with the Indy 500, it was just heart racing one after another.
Oh, that's true.
Charles, I'm a Ferrari fan.
Right.
Preferencing everybody on the radio. I was stressing for Charles. And then to go into the Indy 500, where I'm a McLaren girly supporting Aero McLaren over there.
Fitting that you have an orange mic on you then.
Right? Mm-hmm. With Pato Award. And it was just panicking the entire day.
Yeah, I could see that. Like, it hurt for me, especially those last couple of laps, because I'm both a Joseph Newgarden fan and a Pato Award fan and a Willpower fan. Like, bro, the list goes on. But seeing those two going at it like that is like, can they both win?
Yeah.
Can they both win?
They
Obviously, they can't.
But they can't.
Right. Ugh. Pain. So anyway, getting back on topic, we were talking about F1 Academy, but we rambled on about Monaco and the Indy 500. Anyway, okay, so the Jeddah Corniche circuit will be hosting F1 Academy in April, and that does correlate with F1 itself. Not surprising.
Yeah.
Miami will return for their next season in 2025, which I guess is no surprise. Canada will debut as well, June 13th through the 15th. And then there's this huge gap between June 15th and August 29th when F1 Academy hits the track.
Wow.
That's maybe a little much, if you ask me.
That's a very big gap.
I understand they're a support series, but I do encourage them, like, hey, get out on track a little more.
They should at least, in my opinion, have besides like the holiday breaks and stuff, be racing at least once a month.
They should. That's just my take. I don't know. Maybe hang around with someone else in the meantime. I don't know. So anyway, the next race after that in August, the race where they do come back, is August 29th through 31st in the Netherlands, which is our boy Max Verstappen's home turf. And guess what? Another major gap in between the schedule. This one between August 31st and October the 3rd.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, we have two big gaps here in the F1 Academy schedule. But if it's any consolation, that next race is Singapore.
Oh.
Yeah, so that one was pretty good this year for F1 Academy. So I'm looking forward to that one. And on the topic of Vegas, that is exactly where they're going to wrap up their season. So an F1 Academy champ will be crowned in 2025 in Vegas on November 20th through the 22nd.
Interesting. I kind of like that it closes out on Vegas.
Hey, I'm all for it because one of the big gripes I had last year with the Las Vegas Grand Prix was only Formula One racing.
Yeah.
They should have brought in someone else to do support series. I know this year they're going to do it with, I think, the Ferrari Challenge. Somebody like that.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, but they're going to come along to support F1, which good because that'll help with the track. So for next season, F1 Academy doing it, I think is really good stuff. So that is your 2025 F1 Academy calendar. What are we thinking, chat? What are we thinking, Kaylee?
I think it's great. I love the debut of the Chinese Grand Prix and the Canadian Grand Prix. The more that these girls are able to race on these tracks, the more likely they are to get seats in F4, F3, and possibly even F2 when it comes to that time. The problem with F1 Academy right now, though, is their cars that they're driving are slower than F4 cars.
Really? That's something I didn't see coming.
They are slower than the F4 cars. So as much as it's great to see this, there is still a ton of improvement that could be done by giving these girls maybe an F4 or F3 car to try racing in order to get them spots. Because Susie Wolf is the director of this program. Mm-hmm. We know she has a historic background in racing. She was a racing driver herself, and she has some good accolades too. But in order to push women over the top in this field, which is what she wants, these cars have to be faster. Yeah. And we have to see them racing more and not have these 2-month long gaps in between. That's
one of the bigger things that, it hurt F1 earlier this year when they went, they had their traditional summer break, but then after that, between Singapore and the US Grand Prix, there was like a whole month of nothingness. Yeah. I'm not a huge fan of that, honestly. So shout out to IndyCar in that they're fixing their 2025 schedule so that there's no major gap in between points paying events. Yeah. I think there's still a gap of sorts, but at least it's not
But it's like a summer holiday or something like that.
Yeah.
Which is fine. I'm all for take your summer holidays, take your breaks. But I still want to see you guys drive.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one. I'm with you on that one. So F1 Academy for 2025. Keep an eye out for that, folks. That's coming up later on in the spring of 2025, and they're having a Netflix series apparently. So keep an eye out for that also in 2025.
Ooh,
Yeah.
They're gonna have their own DTS.
Yeah, I guess so. I don't know what they're gonna call it, but I hope it's a little bit more creative than
Drive to Survive.
Drive to Survive. What a weird title. Okay, one more thing before we start digging into the Las Vegas. Actually, two, because on the note of F1 Academy, let me introduce you, or maybe you've heard of her, of Abby Pulling. You know her?
Oh, I know Abby Pulling. I love Abby.
Abby is going crazy. Abby is pulling everywhere she goes, all right? And no one can change my mind about this one. Apparently, according to BBC.com, at a Formula E test that just happened, which is all women, by the way, Abby Pulling put on the fastest lap there. She doesn't know how to not put a fastest lap. And you know what? We applaud her for that over here on Grand Prix Talk. Like, literally, Abby Pulling, our GOAT. Honestly. Okay, so according to BBC.com, the 21-year-old driving for Nissan was quickest of 18 of the world's top female drivers in Spain. The other two, finishing second, was three-time W Series champ Jamie Chadwick. We know her. And Bianca Bustamante finished in third. Yeah. The time in question, by the way, was a 1 minute 30.88. That's the fastest time that Abby Pulling put up to be at the top of the charts for that all-women's test. It was 3.4 seconds off of Mitch Evans, who is a regular in Formula E. I believe he's won a world championship as well. So, yeah, 3.4 seconds off of Mitch Evans. So it's not bad. I just also feel like that's kind of shows like, hey, she's actually not doing too bad, but we could see some improvement for sure.
Yeah, I mean, she's obviously not racing in Formula E as constant. And to put up something 3.4, what was it, 3.4?
3.4.
3.4 seconds off isn't terrible. That's about, I want to say, the distance from first place to maybe ninth place in Formula One.
Yeah.
Which is still technically in the points.
That's true.
And so for her to be putting up that caliber in a testing session, can you imagine if they gave her the proper tools and training and let her run in Formula E? I think she could pull off a title.
She will definitely be a competitive force. And honestly, just given just how dominant she is in F1 Academy, I don't doubt that with the proper equipment, this lady's going to fly. So again, major shout out to Abby Pulling. Abby Pulling, if you're listening, I highly doubt she is, but if she ever were to, we would love to have her on the show, honestly. Okay, one more thing. Let's make this quick because there's a whole lot of heat going on inside of the F1 cockpits. We know that one, right? Yep. So apparently they're testing a new cooling device. Quote motorsport.com on this one. The FIA's prototype method for its new Formula One cooling device involves cooled water being pumped around driver overalls, which sounds directly pulled out of Gran Turismo, if you ask me.
Yeah.
Like, okay, allow me to introduce you guys and to the chat to the SRT Tomahawk Vision Gran Turismo, Tomahawk X specifically. This thing is supposed to be just an absolute rocket ship, right? Here's what it looks like.
Yeah.
So this thing, and actually, matter of fact, I'm going to put it on the, I'm going to share my screen so people know exactly what I'm talking about. A whole lot of stuff, because that thing can pull up to 400 miles an hour in the game.
Oh my gosh.
They had to rework the game physics.
Yeah, I forgot that's like the fastest car you can get in Gran Turismo.
Yep. And this was, I believe it is in Gran Turismo 7. I know for a fact it was in 6. So yeah, my point being, though, that cooling device, for one, I really hope it's successful because I'm remembering Qatar 2023.
Yeah.
That was really bad.
Qatar was rough. You saw Stroll get out of his car, fainting. Logan Sargent had to retire because he was like, I'm going to puke.
Yeah.
Qatar is dangerous, and I have said this from the start, especially with how much equipment they have to wear, from the fireproof suits to the helmets to the gloves. That's a lot of heat, and then sitting in the cockpit of these F1 cars where these seats just get hotter and hotter because the engines are right there. They always needed some form of cooling system. The ice packs that they have on their chest, it's not doing it anymore, especially in a place like Qatar, which is straight desert.
Yeah, it really is. Lucky for them, Vegas is like really cold, so that helps. Yeah. But a place like Qatar, even, I mean, going off course here for a little bit, we saw that in the World Cup, how just blistering hot it was out there. So I'm hoping that this Tomahawk-esque type of suit actually helps them because they need it, y'all. They really do. So we can close that up. Yeah, I'm really hoping that this actually helps them, especially given that these cockpits can go up to 50 degrees Celsius, which does anyone know what that is in Fahrenheit?
I'll look it up. I'm not good with
math.
Celsius to Fahrenheit.
I remember something about like you gotta divide like 9 by 5 or something like that. But from there on out, I don't remember too much else.
Let's see. It's loading. This is very dramatic. 122 degrees Fahrenheit.
Yikes.
Yikes.
That is about what I remember one time going down the road from Lake Tahoe coming down here. It was like 120-ish degrees in the middle of the state.
That's like when I played softball out in Vegas.
You played out there?
Yeah.
Well, fitting that we're talking about Vegas today.
Vegas in the summer is not a fun place to be.
Oh, I will bet. And you know what? I will take your word very seriously about that one. All right. So that's quite a few things to go over. I was thinking this was going to be a short rundown, but no. Motorsport is just like, yep, we're just going to deliver all this right then and there the week that you're talking about the Vegas Grand Prix.
Yeah. But you know what else happened today?
What
that
happened?
I don't think you have on your rundown?
I do not have it on my rundown, I think. What happened?
Logan Sargent, IndyCar testing for Shirkmeyer.
Our American hero is back. He is so back, chat. All right. Logan Sargent is so back. Did he test with Meyer Shank?
Yes.
I'm looking this up. Hey.
I believe he just tested this morning.
You better believe it. I want to. Well, it's all talking about like last month. But anyway, I'll take your word for it because I imagine it's up on Instagram or something, right?
I saw it on TikTok. Let me see if I could find anything current.
Come on,
for
tell
today.
us you could find it.
Let's see.
This is why we need these types of people on this show, honestly.
Let's see.
Hold the thoughts, chat. Hold the thoughts because I know it's
he
going
tested today.
Uh-huh.
It doesn't tell me exactly. Here we go. There's a video.
Oh, okay.
From I believe IndyCar itself. Let me.
Alrighty.
Give it a sec. We got an advertisement. We're not playing that on the radio. No free advertisement here on Grand Prix Talk.
Thank you for that. See, exactly. If you decide to do advertising, I'm happy to help, but like, hey, there's got to be something in it for all of us.
Let's see. The Wi-Fi is also not great in here.
It's the studio. What did you expect? There's a whole lot of equipment.
Everything's running on Wi-Fi. Here we go. This is from The Racer.
Racer Magazine. Okay, perfect. So trackside with Marshall Pruitt, and he's a pretty credible source.
If it wants to load.
The type of stuff that we put up with.
I know he also interviewed Enzo Fittipaldi.
Right. So
that's why I'm trying to skip ahead to see if Logan's first or Enzo's first.
You know what? It works. We're just trying to get this out of... Come on, Wi-Fi, load up.
Maybe if you pull it up on the Mac, maybe it'll work better there.
Okay, let's see if I can pull it up. Sorry, YouTube stream, but I'm about to use YouTube while using YouTube.
Oh.
Isn't that fun? Did you know that Macs can do that? This isn't advertising, by the way. This is just me proving the capabilities of computers because I use them a lot. Let's see. Why is Logan Sargent crash trending? That's sad. Anyway. Oh, okay.
There he is.
And this just came up 15 minutes ago.
Yeah.
And we have our advertisement, for
us. Show that.
Okay, here we are. Okay, so let's see. Marshall Pruitt.
There you go. It's
Logan Sargent himself. I wonder if I can put this on the mic. He's so back, chat. Our American hero is back.
The light in his eyes have come back.
Literally, I haven't seen this dude smiling.
That's what Williams does to a man. Absolutely destroys hope.
This dude must for sure have PWSD, post-Williams stress disorder.
Yup.
You know what? You know what? We are so glad for this guy. I'm dropping a like on this video right now. I'm signed into my account, so it doesn't matter.
Perfect. Yeah.
We are dropping a like on that video. So Logan Sargent, you know what, chat? We got to keep an eye out for when Logan Sargent does some more testing or even lands a spot on the grid, because you better believe we will be talking about that here on GPT. You better believe it. Okay, I need a break here because we have already covered so much, and believe it or not, we already ran through half the show.
Whoa.
It's 2:28. It's 2:28. So that's how you know we ran through half the show already. So I need to catch my breath real quick, and then we will preview the Vegas Grand Prix. We'll do predictions. We will see all that what little bit Max Verstappen needs to do or Lando Norris needs to do to keep up the fight in the world title. But you know what? Let's see if this works. You know I had to bring her on today. Yep, I had to bring her on. Biba Doobie here on Grand Prix Talk. We'll be back. You knew I had to bring her up.
You had to.
Yeah, it was mandatory. You know what? Let me mute the mic real quick because. All right, we are almost back here. That's 10:36 by Biba Doobie. Like I said, I had to bring her on. This, by the way, I want the YouTube chat and the radio stream to know, Kaylee over here is the reason I got into Biba Doobie. So
I am.
So yeah, take that as you will, whether for better or worse. But Biba Doobie, oh my gosh, like I'm so glad I was proven wrong about her, for real. Anyway, welcome back to Grand Prix Talk, everybody. We are just about to talk about the Las Vegas Grand Prix, but Kaylee, off the air, was talking to me about the evolution of McLaren logos. Why don't you just tell us more while I share the screen here?
Yeah, so we were kind of how I called Meyer Shank Meyer Shark because I think sharks are cool and they should rename their team to that. Meyer Shank, if you're listening, hit me up for details.
All right, then. That's something. Hey, do you have like a business email or something?
No, you could reach me at kgallagher@22westradio.com.
Was that going to go on there? Anyway.
Oh, well, you guys can have my work email. That's fine.
The work email. That works.
But yeah, then I said it might be biased because the prancing horse of Ferrari. And then I remembered we were going over teams. Ferrari has the horse, and Red Bull has the bulls, obviously. And McLaren's logo was actually based on a kiwi bird, the national symbol of New Zealand, the home country of the company's founder, Bruce McLaren.
So this right here, this is what the first logo for McLaren actually looked like. And it feels like I'm reading alternate history because it's not orange.
It's not.
It's not orange. It's not red. It's not silver. It's green. Okay, there is some red. There is some red, but you know.
Yes, so that first logo, I believe the one you have on the screen.
That's the first one.
Was from 1963 to 1965.
It says 66 on the website.
66?
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway, their next one looks a little bit more like what I think of when I see McLaren.
Yep.
With orange. So that's from 1967 to 80. The Speedy Kiwi. That's what it called them.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that I didn't know about. You had this one, which was the Senna era.
The Senna era of McLaren.
Yep.
I love that McLaren car.
Oh, this is one of the better ones for sure. Marlboro and McLaren. For all the controversy regarding F1 sponsorships, we can't deny that. This is one of the
Marlboro is one of the most, as much as it's terrible for people, was the most iconic F1 sponsor. It sponsored Ferrari. It sponsored McLaren. If you think of the iconic Ferraris and McLaren's era, you know
they got
the
Marlboro.
The Schumi era was Marlboro.
Oh, yeah. Yep, Schumi for sure. That was definitely Marlboro. So I guess take that as you will, I suppose. This one, okay, this McLaren logo, I feel like
that's also Senna's era too.
Yeah, right?
Senna had like 2-3 logos, I think, around his era.
That's quite a few. Honestly. And then this is what I think of when I see McLaren. It's like this logo, because they've also had it on like merchandise over at what is it? Hollister, I think.
I think maybe there's quite a few stores. There's
Hollister.
There's Abercrombie.
Yes, them.
Abercrombie has some F1 stuff.
Yeah, and I know they have this McLaren logo. When
H&M had some F1 merchandise as well.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah.
And then we have our 2007 to 17. That's around the time we started watching.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's a new one, which is black.
I think there's another one because that one says it ended in 2021.
Oh, yeah.
And then they went back and added the iconic orange kiwi bird swoosh.
Speedy Kiwi.
Yep.
I think that might be a new nickname for me for McLaren, the Speedy Kiwis. Well, actually, the Kiwis is New Zealand, right?
Yeah.
Oh, never mind. Because I hadn't thought like, hey, maybe I could call Oscar Piastri that, but then I remembered he's from Australia.
But I think Australia, they do get called something Kiwis. Something like that. I don't know.
If anyone from Australia is either listening or watching a YouTube stream, please let me know. Does anyone call you guys Kiwis as well? I know for a fact it's in New Zealand, but I don't know about the Aussies. So
let me see. Aussies.
And I can stop sharing this. I don't know if anyone does, but we'll find out, I suppose.
Nothing's popping up.
I mean, at this point, we already know the internet down here is pretty whack. So, yeah. But yeah, anyone from Australia, if you're listening, or if you happen to tune in, or later on, whatever, because this is available for replay later on at the end of the show. So don't worry. This episode will not die out quickly. But yeah, if anyone is listening, let me know, please, and thank you in advance. Sincerely, Sergio and Kaylee.
Yep, nothing's popping up. It's all right. We'll never know.
We'll know soon enough, and I'll let you know. Okay, shall we talk about the Las Vegas Grand Prix? That is coming up this weekend.
Let's do it.
All right, so the Las Vegas Grand Prix, let's first talk about a very, very, very brief history of the race, starting with last year, because that's about
as much history as we got.
Yeah, as far as this current configuration. Obviously, there was the one in the 80s, but we don't talk about that here. Yeah, we're not going to talk about that. So how about we just start by breaking down the Las Vegas Strip circuit. So let's share our screen for our viewers at home or upper. Okay, let's break down this track. Do you think you can walk us through?
No, I don't think I can.
All right, at least she's honest about it. Okay, so our start-finish line consists of, well, actually, our starting line is over here, right immediately after turn 17. So we'll come back to that here shortly. So immediately, it's like 160-ish meters or so. Quote Donut Media for that one. from the start finish line to turn 1, which turn 1 is a pretty wide opening if you ask me. Yeah, so that's pretty wide. We saw last year turn 1, lap 1, how Verstappen and Leclerc got up off the track. That was something, but yeah, this is a relatively quick turns 1 and 2. Turn 3 and 4 are also a constant, almost 90-degree, past 90-degree right turn. And then we hit our first DRS section. I expect drivers to hit somewhere around 180 miles an hour in this part of the track.
Yeah, it's a long straight.
I think that's Koval lane, if I remember correctly.
I think it is.
Koval lane, yeah. You're talking to someone who wasn't in Vegas at all. Maybe once or twice, but only for vacation. And then we slammed hard on the brakes over here before heading into turn 5, which is an Indianapolis-style 90-degree right turn. Mm-hmm. Then we go into turn 6 and the sphere, consisting of turn 7, 8, and 9. I always had kind of a grudge with this part of the track. Turn 7, 8, and 9. Like, I don't know if you remember, but when the first track layout was released, this was not what it is now.
No, it wasn't. It was completely different.
It was completely round.
Winded up. Yeah, then they shifted it and went curve, drop, curve.
Call it a roller coaster the way it went curve, drop, curve, honestly. Anyway, shout out Six Flags. Okay, so turn 9 is a pretty complex turn, but then we get into a really fast part of the track, sector 2, which goes from turn 9 down to turn 10, 11, and turn 12. Having played this on F1 24, I usually keep my foot flat on the gas pedal all throughout until we get to turn 11. That's when I start hitting the brakes before we go into turn 12, which if you miss it, you're toast in that section.
Oh, yeah, you'll get absolutely fried and passed up without a doubt. But that's one of the beauties of this Vegas circuit is it is a straight up, you have to be a good racer.
Yeah.
This is not just my car's better on this track. This is you have to be a good driver to drive on this track and be successful.
That's for sure. And we saw it last season. Turn 12 is a hard 90-degree left. And then we go to the Las Vegas Strip, which, I mean, this is what, over a mile almost of track?
Yeah, it's just straight lines, beautiful. Isn't it DRS zone number 2?
Yeah, that's the second one.
DRS
and the last
zone.
one.
The last DRS zone. It's where the most opportunities there to pass is going to be. You're not going to be able in this Vegas track to really get past on the turns unless you're Charles Leclerc last year.
Don't remind me, Kaylee. Don't remind me, because we are just about to get there.
I mean, these straights are what it's about.
Yeah.
This is why I think a lot of people underappreciate Vegas. This is a genuine race track. As much as I'm not a big fan of street circuits all the time.
Right.
I think they have to be done in the right way, and I think Vegas did it right because this calls for some actual wheel-to-wheel racing and some skill in order to overpass and overtake over here.
Yeah, that's for sure. So now, once we go past DRS detection zone 2, the DRS zone, and the speed trap, which at that point, I expect 210 miles per hour minimum.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, I got to talk about that turn. It's giving me flashbacks to last year. All right. Turn 14, which is probably Kaylee's favorite turn because Charles Leclerc pulled off arguably the move of the year. Just possibly the move of the year. It's just too bad it came at the expense of Checo, which I was so prepared to celebrate a second place. But nah. Anyway, turn 14, you got to be absolutely brave, and we saw that with Leclerc last year. Yeah. So turns 14, 15, and 16 are all pretty constant, but I mean, I think we can all agree. If you can nail the braking at turn 14 as Leclerc did, you're set.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, we saw it last year, obviously. Late on the brakes, really push through that zone, and you will be overtaking anybody you want. Unfortunately, I do love Checo myself as a Hispanic myself, so it was very hard to continue rooting for Charles Leclerc against our national treasure, Checo Perez.
Exactly. I think that's one of the reasons why sometimes we have a hard time with Checo versus Charles. It's just like, ugh. Anyway, so turns 14, 15, 16, we already discussed that. And finally, it's just 1 or 2 long straightaways, which you can pretty much take flat out. Turn 17, it's literally a flat out turn. And then that's a lap at Las Vegas. Pretty good track, all things considered. Like, I mean, I thought it was going to be a joke of a race last year, but no, like.
That was probably some of the best racing we'd seen all last year, given Verstappen's dominance.
Absolutely. I mean, even like everyone in the group chat We were chatting about the race afterwards. Like it was almost midnight here in LA at that point. But everyone was just like, "What a race! Like that was crazy!" Like gushing over Leclerc's final lap blitz, if you ask me, because that was a blitz. Honestly.
It was.
That was something else. But like it was a great race, honestly. And I'm really hoping that Vegas puts on another banger of a race this year.
I do too. I think the Ferraris, the McLarens, and the Red Bull, they're all great on straights. They are built to go fast in a straight line. And I think we're going to get some of the best racing. I mean, we've had great racing this year. Let's be honest.
Absolutely.
Multiple winners at different races.
Multiple teams winning.
And multiple teams winning as well.
Mm-hmm.
This race could set everything. It's going to set the tone.
What is it? There's this one left, and there's Qatar and Abu Dhabi. And that's it.
And that's it. And they're all back to back to back. It's a triple header.
Oh, man. Formula One in 2024 is already on its way out the door. Can y'all believe it? Okay, so let's talk about race distance, lap records, and then we are going to have some fun making some predictions. So this weekend's Las Vegas Grand Prix, as it was last year, is going to be 50 laps total, which, fun fact, I don't know if anyone here plays Forza Motorsport. Hello, I do. But I remember the Rio Grand Prix circuit in Forza 6 and 7. If that track measures like 3.83 miles. Back then, the limit of the laps was 50, kind of like here.
Yeah.
And you could run, like, if you went and ran all 50 laps in a free play race in the Rio Grand Prix in Forza, you hit a Grand Prix distance, about 191 miles.
Oh, wow.
Just a little fun fact for anyone who may have not noticed it otherwise. This is what happens when you grow up playing Forza. Anyway, 50 laps at a track measuring 6.2 kilometers. That's give or take like 3.5-ish, 3.6 miles around there. Kaylee, you want to calculate?
I'm not good at math.
I can help you. Don't worry. If there's something good I learned about Formula One, it's how to convert kilometers to miles. Take this distance, 6.201, and divide it by 1.61. You can use a calculator. It's fine.
Okay. I got this then.
Come on. No one, like, we are not taking tests here. We're talking about racing. It's all good. I'm not going to quiz you on anything.
And divided by 1.61. 3.8515528 is the big number. But if we round it, about 3.85.
3.85. So there you go. Okay, one more calculation for us because let's see, 309.958. Call it 310 kilometers, honestly, and divide that by 1.61.
Okay, so it's
309.958 if you want to be exact.
309.958, and then you divide that one by 1.61.
Yeah.
192.52.
100, yeah. So it's about your average, your typical race distance, 192.52 miles. Should be a great race for sure. Lights out is at 10 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. So get ready to stay up late, ladies and gentlemen. And if you're on the East Coast, major salute to you because y'all are staying up at 1 a.m. for this.
Oh, yeah.
I feel bad for them. But I guess there probably is some pretty devoted F1 fans out there, probably, hopefully.
Hopefully, yeah. I mean, it's good that... I think it's fair, though. Yeah. I know Europe is a big factor into Formula One, but to gain its popularity in the States, you're going to have this race at 10 p.m.
Yeah.
At night? I don't know, man.
It's not, I don't know. Like, I was hoping it would be like a 7 o'clock or an 8 o'clock start time for us, so it was reasonable for the East Coast. So when I found out it was 10 o'clock, I thought, whoops. I guess I'm not going to bed early this Saturday night.
I know, right? Here I was just trying to get some sleep before Thanksgiving break.
You was not doing that.
Not getting no sleep now.
No sleep, gang. Rise up. We have risen. Anyway, you can watch it on F1 TV Pro and also on ESPN. They're going to have the race as well. Like I said, it's at 10 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. That is 1 a.m. for the East Coast. And for people in Europe, I think that's like 6 or 7 a.m. for the British people. I think so. Yeah, around there. Anyway, predictions. I'll let you go first. Let's dive right in.
Ooh.
Let's make some predictions for the Vegas Grand Prix.
How are we doing this? How do you want to do?
Okay, let's see. How do I want to do this, actually? Okay, maybe predict, I don't know.
Are we predicting podium? Or are we predicting in the points?
let's focus on podium for right now, and if we have a little spare time, then we can focus on the points. But so,
Okay.
who do you got on the podium this weekend?
Okay, I guess we'll start backwards. We'll start with P3.
P3, okay.
P3, I think I'm going with either Lando or Carlos Sainz.
Carlos Sainz, P3 in Vegas, okay, or Lando. Okay.
As long as Carlos doesn't get taken out by another manhole cover. I know you know.
Yep, I know that one. I was watching that practice session. When I saw that red flag come out within 10 minutes of the session starting, I thought, uh-oh.
This is devastating for a Ferrari girly watching.
Yeah, I'll bet. Anyway, so Carlos Sainz or Lando Norris, P3 on your predictions list. How about P2? Who you got?
I'm going to take Charles Leclerc.
Alrighty.
I think he might double down and get another P2. He's quick. Vegas is obviously one of his more dominant tracks. We saw it last year. He was just able to beat off the dominant cars of the Red Bull.
Yeah.
He's able to beat him out in his tractor of a Ferrari last year. That car was
a dog.
A tractor. It was awful, and he still managed to get P2.
I mean, honestly, I feel bad for this dude because it felt like he was carrying the whole team on his back.
I think he was in that race.
Also, I feel like that's also kind of reasonable given Monza. If
you
remember that. If Monza's anything to go back, did they get 1-2? Ferrari got a 1-2 that year, right? Or this year? Did they? Man, let's find out.
I think Carlos was on the podium. I am not sure if it was a Ferrari 1-2.
Well, you know what? Why don't we find out? Because I do remember, of course, Leclerc winning. Our podium at Italy was the two McLarens, second and third.
Yeah.
But Leclerc did take P1.
Leclerc took P1.
Okay, so our full results, if Carlos was fourth.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's unreasonable to assume a Ferrari, at least one of them, will land on the podium.
Yeah.
Okay, and what about race winner?
I'm going to have to say, unfortunately, goes against every fiber in my Ferrari being Max Emiliano Verstappen.
Max Verstappen for the race win, huh?
And I think this will be where I think if he wins, he clinches the title.
We were just about to dive into that. You know what? Let me write down predictions for Vegas. You're seeing it right here, YouTube stream. Predictions for Vegas. So Kaylee has on, let me see. So P3, let's see. You said either Lando or Carlos. For P2, you have Charles, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then P1, Max.
Yeah.
Which, yeah, I mean, like she said, it goes against every possible fiber in her body. But anyway, yeah, we were going to dive into that because Max Verstappen can win the Drivers' Championship in Vegas. How does he do that? All he needs to do is finish ahead of Lando. It doesn't even say where.
It just says, ahead.
Yeah. Okay, let's see. If we look at Red Bull's article here, which is biased because, this is the team themselves writing. But anyway, okay, so the state of play heading into Vegas, there are 86 points left to be earned all season, I think. Yeah, all this season. So it leaves Norris with a limited margin of error to fight for his first world title. After Las Vegas, there will be only 60 points left to earn, with Qatar being a sprint weekend, Abu Dhabi being a regular Grand Prix weekend. Mm-hmm. So, yeah. So there's still several points up for grabs. So how can he be world champion? Okay, here we are. Okay, so if Verstappen wins the race, it's over. It's automatically done. Then he will be crowned world champion. If Verstappen gets P2, Lando needs to win to keep the title fight alive. If Verstappen finishes P3, then Lando needs P2 or to win the race if Max takes the fastest lap as well. Mm-hmm. And then there's like a whole list of other things. The point is, for Lando Norris to keep the championship title alive,
he has to win in Vegas.
He has to win or at least do miles ahead of Max.
Yeah.
So that's the only way Lando keeps it going. Do I think it'll happen? Because now I'm going to throw in my predictions for the Vegas Grand Prix. And as a matter of fact, I'm going to write them down at an angle where they can see it. So my predictions for Vegas, let's see. So P3, who do I got? We got a McLaren on P3. Whether Lando or Oscar, I have no idea, but I do think we'll see a McLaren in P3.
It's reasonable.
So a McLaren. I mean, I'm going off of Monza. P2 and P3 for both McLarens. I think it would be unwise to bet against them this weekend, unless Lando wrecks again.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think he will. I feel like he'll probably learn his lesson from last year. But if he wrecks, we can assume the world championship is done.
Yeah.
Pretty much. I think so. So I'm thinking a McLaren's going to get on the podium, most likely P3. P2, let's see. We all know, let's see, P2, we can definitely put a Ferrari up there. Their straight line speed is
Ridiculous.
crazy. I'm basing this not only off of Monza, but Coda.
Oh, true.
We missed Coda. Well, we didn't miss it. We watched it, but Coda, I mean, with their long straightaway, we saw Ferrari won too.
Yeah.
So I think a Ferrari will be there. And I think it could be Charles. Honestly, just given the fact that he's doing better than Carlos per se. And that's not me dogging on Carlos. It's just the fact that he's already on his way out the door with Ferrari. So I'm suspecting that they don't want to give him too much because, Williams, they want that advantage. And race winner, who do I got for race winner? Kevin Magnussen. Just kidding. Hey, honestly, though.
Honestly, I could see K-Mag.
Haas in the points. Double points this weekend in Vegas. I hope so. It would be amazing. I'm low-key becoming a huge Haas fan, so we'll see. But anyway, P1, shoot. Okay, now I'm kind of at a crossroads here because I want to say Max Verstappen, but at the same time, I'm kind of like, I'm thinking that either the Ferraris or McLarens are going to take P1. You know what? I'm just going to go completely on a whim here. I'm going to say Lando Norris, P3. Charles P2, and anyone else on P1, whether that's a Red Bull, a McLaren, or a Ferrari. Most likely it's going to be Max because as much as I'm a huge Checo fan, I don't expect him to be on the podium. But if he does, you can expect me to celebrate like crazy at my house. You heard it here first. So for P1, I'll put Max or whatever Ferrari/McLaren wasn't already P2 or P3. That's a really long description, but,
you got to do what you got to do.
Exactly. This is Grand Prix Talk. We're just people with opinions here on the show. Okay, so there we have our predictions for Las Vegas. Wild card, Haas. Just saying.
I think the Alpines for me are the wild card.
Ooh, okay. What makes you say that? Do you think they'll continue their form from
I think they will continue their form from Sao Paulo.
I hope so, because I think everyone and their grandma was feeling good for Alpine that weekend. So
I didn't even expect it. That race was crazy in itself.
Yeah, that was something else. But it's Sao Paulo. It always delivers. And I hope Las Vegas delivers as well. That about does it here on Grand Prix Talk. Hey, by the way, don't you have a show of your own or two? I don't know.
I have one.
You have
a
one.
show of my own.
All right, spill the beans before we call it a day here.
If you guys are into anything baseball, Major League Baseball, collegiate baseball, Long Beach State baseball even, my show Around the Bases comes on Monday nights at 9 p.m. and Friday mornings at 8 a.m. We like to nickname ourselves the show with the most brutal time slots here at 22S Sports.
May I ask why?
Why? 8 a.m., my co-host, Bruce Kuntz, he is the vice president of Long Beach State's club baseball team. So on Fridays, he has practices after our show. And it just so happened Monday nights, we just kind of fell into that 9 p.m. slot.
Wow. So there you go. So Around the Bases, Mondays and Fridays, you said, yes?
Yes.
Right here on 22westmedia.com, by the way. And don't y'all put it on a podcast as well? Or is it just
And
me?
it's on Spotify under 22 West, I think might be radio or sports.
Sounds good. So keep an eye out for that. You heard it here first. Around the Bases, Mondays and Fridays, here on 22 West and also on Spotify. If you wonder why Grand Prix Talk isn't on Spotify, that's because we're on YouTube. But hey, who knows? Maybe we will come up on Spotify during season 4. Keep an eye out for that in the spring. Shh, you didn't hear that from me, though.
Ooh.
Anyway, that about does it here for Grand Prix Talk for this week. Kaylee, it was so fun having you on the show.
I had a blast myself. Thank you for having me on.
It was great. I'm glad that we got to bring you along. If anything, maybe I'll bring more guests in the future, or she might be back soon. So keep an eye out for that. But that about does it. Thank you all so much for tuning in to Grand Prix Talk. That was Kaylee Gallagher. I'm Sergio Morales. Follow me on Instagram at SMortorsports at 22West at 22WestLB. Until then, just a heads up, by the way, we are not coming on the air next week. I wonder why that is.
Possibly Thanksgiving break.
Yeah, at long last, we get a little break here at this, not just the studio, but at school. So we're going to rest. But if you're coming to the LA Auto Show, I hope to see you all there because it's going to be a great week out there at the convention center. See you Monday there. But until then, see you guys in a couple of weeks. Happy Thanksgiving in advance. See you next time for Grand Prix Talk, everyone. Cheers and see you later. End it. Okay.